Jenny and Mark Steele on Bow Radio.
Hey up, it's A Wee Natter. I'm Mark Steele, and across the table from me is
Jenny Steele.
And we are joining you on the week. The US scientists have done the most offensive thing to tea that they possibly could have since they had a little party in Boston Harbour. Which didn't happen yesterday, happened a little while ago. But they had that party in Boston Harbour, and it was totally offensive to tea. They've gone a step further. What ingredient do you think they've added to make the perfect cuppa?
Salt.
How did you know that?
I read it.
You read it? You've taken the punchline away.
Oh, sorry.
Fair enough, I totally understand that one. I'm guessing it's a bit like a porridge thing. Where porridge is all right, but you add a little bit of salt. It's a little bit of magic. It shouldn't make sense, but adding salt to porridge makes it better.
Never done that.
It's bizarre. And talking of offending, because that's what the Americans have done here, they've ruined tea with salt. We've offended somebody ourselves. We got a complaint.
Yeah.
And we take them very seriously, dear listener. When somebody complains to us, we take it on board and we learn from our actions. So Vicky Fairweather has been in touch saying, I enjoyed this week's episode of A Wee Natter, so talking about last week. Please tell the presenters not to get camping banned because I love it. Now, if you're a little bit confused saying, how are you banning camping? It's a little thing we're doing called Elected, which is coming up later in the show, where we are building the People's Manifesto on the build-up to the general election. Because we know there's going to be a general election this year, don't we? But we don't know when Rishi's going to pull the trigger. He's a bit shy about it, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So
he is.
When he eventually gets round to it, we will have our People's Manifesto, and that's what we'll be looking to do to improve the country. And one of the things that we were looking at was camping. Because I know there are people that love it, and they're interesting and unique people. I'm trying to be kind here. I'm trying not to stay over the line. But for most of us, camping is a miserable experience. It's going out into a cold place. It's full of smells. You lose all the comforts of home. Have you ever actually been camping before?
I was going to say, I've never been camping, but I don't think I'd like it. But then I don't know if I'm being fair to camping if I've never really tried it. But it's just exactly like you said. I'd be frightened of like creepy crawlies crawling on me at night, being cold, not having to kind of go to the loo. I don't know if you get them provided now, but you got to walk across a muddy field or something. I don't, and of course I haven't got me hair straightener to hand because there's no electricity. And where do you get your tea from in the morning? I
suspect you've got an image of Heidi High sticking in your head, but that's where you're going with camping. And the world has moved on a little bit from there. This is going to sound a bit out of the blue, this question, but have you ever been a fan of wrestling? I'm asking that to you, dear listener, and you, Jenny, as well.
No, I haven't, no.
No, it's never really appealed to me either. I can't even get into the rerun of Gladiators that's on at the moment.
No, I can't either.
Is it because you've seen it before and you're just like, it's never going to live up to it, or you just never got into it in the first place?
I did used to watch it. And I think thinking back on it now, I'm like, did I really used to watch that? So, and I've not really. I've heard people that have watched it and says it's not the same. They're not allowed to be really, really naughty anymore, like Wolf used to be. They've got to all be kind of all, oh, don't worry about it. You've lost. It'll be all right next time. So it takes a bit of the shine away from it. So I've been told. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother then.
I didn't even see it when it's first run. So when you're saying being a little bit naughty, what do you mean? Is it, attacking other players or something?
Well, the Wolf, I think there was it called the Wolfman or something, and he was very naughty. So if one of the contestants used to win the Gladiator, whatever task it was, he'd come and then start pushing him around a bit and being in the face and all that sort of thing. And the guy, I can't remember the guy's name that used to kind of try and manage him all. He'd be trying to, do the finger wagging in the face, trying to sort Wolf out, and then Wolf would push him out of the way and pretend to go off and come back on again and get back into the contestant's face. And so it was quite, people used to hate him.
It's a bit more confrontational, what you're saying, and it's kind of gone now. The reason we're talking about this is because wrestling has popped up in the news, dear listener, for reasons I have no understanding of. Because I just saw wrestling and he's like, oh, well, it's not really a thing I'm interested in.
I mean, like Big Daddy or something.
Something like that. But one thing I did learn for getting drubbed in wrestling games, what was with friends that just throw you a controller? There we go, we're going to play a wrestling game on this video games console. They just throw a controller in your hand. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just mashing buttons, and they're busy doing Hadoukens and all sorts of combos and things like that.
Yeah.
I never got that. Were you any good at these sort of fighting and wrestling games and things like that?
Not really, I don't think. I mean, I learned what a couple of buttons did. I used to like to play Mortal Kombat with my nephew, and he used to show me a few cheats and stuff. But you could also have the put an option on where it didn't show the blood, because I didn't used to like it where it showed the blood, so you could have the option where it didn't show the blood. So I used to like to try and do something called the spinning bird cage. That was good, where she used to swivel up in the air and come down and crush her opponent.
You've unlocked a memory here. I never had the wrestling games or the fighting games myself, but there was a rumour of a cheat code for certain versions of the game where it would unlock the blood that hadn't been allowed. And you're ringing bells there. But to be fair, if I was playing these games, I was just lucky to get the fighter point in the right direction. It was the same with FIFA. I didn't even know which side I was playing for. I was just mashing buttons, hoping for the best. But back to wrestling. One of the things I do know about wrestling is they have walking music, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So imagine you're going about your normal life. You're walking, whether it's into the living room, the supermarket, your office at work, whatever it is. You walk in and you have walking music for your everyday life. What would you go with? What would you go for as your walk-in music?
I'd have to have something really upbeat and poppy.
So something
What's it called, like Mr. Vane?
Yeah, so Jenny opens the door, she's coming into the office, and you hear this.
I know what I want and I want it now. I want you, 'cause I'm Mr. Vane.
Do you work in a rave?
I know what I want and I want it now. That normally means chocolate.
You're sending a message, and so long as the message is understood, I think you're onto something there. Personally, I'd go for something like this.
I am the one and only.
Just to let everyone know about my unique approach to life. I just walk into the room and boom, I am the one and only. It's sending a message, isn't it? So walk into Asda, you just get, I'm going in for a pint of milk. Or, I'm at work, I walk into the office and... Or I'm here in Edwinstowe, or we're over in Alderson. It's like, I need to get a book out of the library. I walk into the library where everyone's hush-hush and the librarians go shh all the time. I walk in the door and... So I'm going to open this one up to you, dear listener. What would your walking music be if you had walking music for every moment? Well, maybe not every moment in your life. It'd be a bit weird, walking into the bedroom to go to sleep and you're getting the walking music happening. But for the key moments in your life, you walk into the room, what song is your walking song? It's A Wee Natter on Bo Radio, where we are talking about songs that your walking song. Like they used to have in the wrestling, they'd play a song to announce a certain wrestler was coming in. One song I definitely wouldn't pick as a walking song would be this one.
They're coming to take me away, haha, they're coming to take me away.
While it sends a valid message, I'm not going to argue with the contents of it that they are coming to take me away. It probably won't go down well, turning up to the office and you get, they're coming to take me away, haha, to the funny farm. I'm getting looks from across the table here. Listen, would you not choose that one then?
No.
You're sticking to your original choice.
I am, yeah.
It was Mr. Vane, wasn't it?
Mr. Vane.
I'd always end up dancing to that.
Yeah, you come through the door dancing.
So I would be knackered before you get to lunchtime if that was a walking music every time I step foot in the office. Something like this. Which you have to shout along with. It's not going to tire you out quite so much. So we are asking about the walking song, the song that announces your arrival. What would you want yours to be? And talking about moving on, it's not the only thing we got in the postbag, was it, Jenny?
No, Samantha Palmer, one of the other questions asked on last week's A Wee Natter was on pet names.
Oh, right.
So we were getting a kitten from a garden centre that a friend worked at, and nobody wanted the runt of the litter, so they decided to take her as well. They were both grubby and covered in fleas, and the smaller one had his little face that was all screwed up. So her husband decided to call her Mutant.
Mutant?
But she grew into a very dainty, pretty little cat. But Samantha spent the whole time when having to call her in for Mutant, come on, mutant, when she went off down the road for a wonder.
Which sounds bad until you realise that's probably how the X-Men get called in after they've been on adventures. Mutants! Mutants!
But let me tell you, I had a cat once, and I didn't name the cat, but the cat was called Marco van Basten after some footballer. Taking the cat to the vets, for a checkup. When the receptionist asked for the cat's name, I just dissolved into laughter. I could not say Marco van Basten. I tried to just then cut it short and say Basten, and she thought I'd swore at her. I couldn't say it.
I'm not going to say what that word is that Baston is very close to. Sam Killip also in touch because we asked a question about those things in life where you embarrass yourself or things go wrong. That's what we're touching on. Saying my daft way that I embarrassed myself was on a school trip. Oh, they're fantastic for doing that sort of thing. The other thing that school trips were good for is if you took a little portable camera with you, and we're talking in the days of film here. And being a kid, you were only ever given one roll of film for a school trip. So I would come back with about 98% of the photos were pictures of the bus there. There was nothing from when we got to the end of it. But anyway, on a school trip when he was 9, Sam, I had missed the morning briefing as I'd lost my MP3 player. Oh. It's quite a young chap if he's got an MP3 player on a school trip here. And totally forgot that my space was for it in one of my side pockets on my suitcase somewhere. So as I was missing the morning briefing, I saw all these people wearing walking boots go on a 6-mile hike. And I'd missed the memo and put my sandals on. I won an award at tea time later in the day, which was the Wally of the Day Award. Oh. I eventually thought it was quite funny, but another scenario where I had an embarrassing injury was when I looked behind me on my bike in Sherwood Forest. Whoa.
Forest?
Have we inadvertently touched on local content here, dear listener, for Bow Radio, your voice for Sherwood? Oh, God, do this then, haven't we? Yes, shoehorning local content in. Admittedly, it was only a visit to Sherwood Forest, but we'll take it to where Sam saw his parents to see where his parents were, and then little did I know there was going to be a tree right in front of me, and I rode straight into the tree. Oh, I think everyone's done that at some point. I rented one of the bikes from Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, this was funny.
Jenny was with me as well, and we decided we weren't even going off-road. We were just going, because there's big tracks around Sherwood Forest,
Sherwood Pines, this was.
Yeah, Sherwood Pines. Beg your pardon. So we're running up and down the big tracks. We're not going particularly fast. But somehow, I ended up with a moment where my back wheel was in front of my front wheel, and I was off the bike skiting along as well. No idea how it happened. So it's a great club to be on. So Sam again, a few years later to that, I would fall off my bike at the age of 12 and break my collarbone. Ooh. Then a few years after that, I was at my friend's house. We were both having milkshakes. I can almost see where this one's going.
I want to know what flavour.
Tell me what's your flavour. I had a mouthful with milkshake and he made me laugh at the wrong moment and milkshake went anywhere. You could say I'm a bit accident prone.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done that sort of thing as well. When you get a mouthful of something and then something funny happens, or even, just something tickles the back of your throat. Yeah. It's going everywhere, isn't it?
I did it to a friend at work when she was just about to have a cup of tea. I did the Shaggy impression of Scooby-Doo and she just burst out laughing and her tea just went all down her work blouse.
If it's good enough for work blouse, it's good enough for A Wee Natter on Bow Radio. Let's hear it, Jenny.
Oh, Shaggy.
Shaggy.
Did I sound like him?
No.
Scooby-Doo. Sorry, I did an impression of Scooby-Doo, not Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Shaggy it wasn't me. Collar red-handed, wasn't me.
God.
Anyone else been in touch?
Yeah, Louise Mallinson. Louise says, the daft way I embarrassed myself was on holiday in Italy. She went into the men's toilets by mistake. I've done that a couple of times, actually.
I think everyone does that at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And here's a little bit of insight for you, dear listener, because I've worked jobs where I have to go and do maintenance in toilets, replacing light bulbs and things like that. And you'll make assumptions. You'll assume that the woman's is cleaner than the men's, won't you?
Yes.
We're all filthy animals.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying on that one. Who else has been in touch, Jenny?
Maureen Stott. So, enjoy the Wee Natter on Sunday. And in answer to the question, I love to say when they've enjoyed the Wee Natter, by the way. I can be a bit clumsy and I've caused myself problems at times. The last time I decided to clean some glass behind the cooker, jumped on a stool, it tipped up and caused a nasty cut on her shin, and she ended up in hospital, but luckily no break or anything, but it did take months to heal. So that was a daft thing, which really she just doesn't want to repeat. I don't blame her either.
She doesn't want to repeat
No,
it,
no,
but we
no.
have repeated it here on A Wee Natter.
Sorry for that, Maureen.
We're talking about that walking song, that song that plays to announce that you have arrived somewhere. Stephen Hall's been in touch saying, hi ho, silver lining. Apparently something to do with football or something he was saying, wasn't it?
Yeah, the football song.
Yeah, not to be confused with Jim Diamond and Hi Ho Silver,
Sometimes I said yes.
which is a song from Boone, if I remember correctly, isn't it?
Yes, filmed in Nottingham,
For about one series, and then the other three they did elsewhere.
down Birmingham.
Telephone.
Do you blame him?
No.
And at night I wake
It's a catchy wee song, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Considering it's DV theme, I'll take it as a win. Also been in touch was...
Ellie Merritt. So she's touching on the topic of embarrassing moments.
Oh, right.
And it could only happen to her, she says. Well, wait a minute, Ellie. She says she was in her 20s, got herself all glammed up and thought she was the bee's knees, had a short skirt on and still managed to tuck her skirt into her knickers and walked out into the car park with, well, everything showing. All she can say is she's glad that she had clean knickers on.
Well, isn't that one of these things you're always told to do in case there's going to be an accident or a slip-up or something like that?
Yeah.
Always have clean underwear on.
Yeah, but let me tell you, when I was about, I'm going to say 18, I think, 17, 18.
All right.
Pants at the time in fashion where they tied each end, so they tied on.
All right.
One of my ties undone and came down. So they came down while I was walking down the street.
Oh, how nice.
Well, you just got to be really cash, haven't you? And you just basically picked them up quickly, looked around and I just stuck them in my handbag.
At least you didn't try to put them back on.
Well, I did. It's just quicker to just step out of them and put them in your handbag, innit? I'll tell you what, I never wore them again.
Is it just me, or are bakeries, like Greg's and Birds and things like that, an experience in running the gauntlet?
Why do you say that?
Because we saw something happen to Jenny today. She had her eyes on a sausage roll.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Unfortunately, the person in front, you took it, didn't you? What
They
went
had
down?
4 from the drive-in. I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, there's 4 left. You know, when you're next in the queue, I thought, it will be mine. And then the next minute, I saw this guy with his headset on come round and scoop all 4 of them up.
That is outrageous.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Outrageous, right. So what is the etiquette around that? So imagine you're the person that's at the front of the queue. The thing you're going to go for, there's only 1 or 2 of them left. You go for it. I guess that's fine at that point, isn't it? If there's only 1 or 2 and you take those last 1 or 2, it's fine. I don't think you can complain about that, can you? But at what point does it become extracting urine? So let's imagine there's like a tray of 10 of them.
Yeah, that would be too much.
And you two call 10.
Yes.
Is that too much?
Yes.
Or a family comes in and they want 4 or 6 of them and they take the 4 or 6. Is that too much?
It is when you really want it, yeah. And you can see there is others cooking, but they look still like they've got a long way to go. And you're like, come on, play the game.
Well, I am wondering, do you need to have a system where you can start reserving what food you want from the queue so it doesn't completely disappear? Like, I really want a steak bake, and making sure there is going to be a steak bake by the time you get to the front of the queue. Do you think there's a little reservation system like that?
Well, would it work? Because when you're doing online shopping and you put something in your trolley, when they go to pick it, it might not be available, so you get a substitute. So you may get to the counter and you may put a steak bake in your basket, and by the time you get to the queue, you've probably got a jam donut as a substitute.
Yeah, well, you make a point there. So instead, how about you start bidding for them? So you all get your mobile phone app out.
Yes.
You all know there's only a couple of sausage rolls left. So you start putting your pictures in. Oh yeah, I'm going to pay 50p. The next person's going, I'll pay 60p, and you'll get well above market value. Like bidding for the last steak bake. And it'll be like Monopoly. Somebody will pay $1,000 for their lunch.
Yeah, and it won't be me.
Yeah, it wouldn't be me either. Although that does remind me, I was in Birmingham once. I used to work a very sort of, I wouldn't say manual job, but it involved wearing scruff gear because I was running cables and doing electronics and things like that. So you don't tend to do that in a shirt, tie and suit. As posh and as smart as it looks, it's not the right combination. But we went to get lunch, me and my boss. We went to this sandwich place around the corner in the middle of Birmingham, and it was Tory party conference season.
Oh.
So they were in town and they were all suited and booted.
Yes.
They saw us walk into the room And the look of disgust on half the face, it was unreal. I was probably earning more than about half the people in that room, but the look of disgust as they saw this person in scruff gear coming to buy sandwiches in the same place as them. How dare they? It's A Wee Natter on Bow Radio. We've got a couple of things cooking at the same time. One of them is about embarrassing moments, and I only heard one word coming from the other side of the table, dear listener, and it is underwear. Yes. What's going on, Jenny?
So we talked about Ellie and her knickers caught in her skirt, and we talked about me with my knickers falling down because the ties came undone and I stepped out of them, put them in my bag. And Ellie was saying, oh my goodness, she says, it's a really good job that we didn't know each other in our younger days because we would have been a nightmare. One with knickers falling down and the other one showing them, and she's in stitches.
Fair enough. And the other topic we were touching on was walk-in music. You know, the music that announces your presence, like, you know, Jenny's walked into the room when you hear this.
I know what I want and I want it now. I want you, 'cause I'm Mr.
And you hear some whistles, and you see some glow sticks as well.
Yeah.
You know Jenny's arrived. Whereas if you hear this,
I am the one and only.
then you know I have walked into the room, or I'm just there for a pint of milk. One of the two things has happened. But Henk has been in touch, our wonderful listener from Norway, and he's told us that his walk-on music would be Les Humphrey Singers. I keep wanting to say it like it's French. I see LES. I do the same with Les Dennis. I want to say Les like it's French. Les Humphrey Singers with Mexico, which is quite an upbeat wee song. One thing that we all recognise is the lovely taste of chocolate. And Jenny has promised a story about chocolate. Tell us the story, Jenny.
I have. So I think Cheryl Warner might know this one because we went down to Norwich back in October. As we do. And we went to a little chocolatier shop in Norwich, and they had all their Christmas gifts in. So you get a bit carried away, don't you? And you think, oh, this looks nice. Pick something that was half price, and I thought it just looked quite nice. It was like 4 almost like chunks of chocolate in the shape of a cube that was on a wooden stick, and there was like Santa Claus, Rudolph, a snowman, and a gingerbread one. And I thought, you know, they're really nice. So anyway, totally forgot all about them. Saw them in the cupboard the other week, and I thought, yeah, they look still in date. I'll try one of these. Absolutely rock hard, solid chocolate it was, but I managed to bite my way through it, and I thought, that's really nice, rich chocolate. I like that. Anyway, halfway through the night, I thought, God, my stomach's really killing me. I felt like I was going to pop, like I was bloating. And I just thought, I don't know what I mean. And it was really rich. And then let me just say that you can kind of guess what. I didn't need a laxative, put it that way. Anyway, put that out of my mind. The week after, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go back to one of them chocolates again. I really fancy one. Nibbled it, ate it. And the thing was, Mark, and I said to you, didn't I? I says, how come you not had one of these yet? And you said it's because you put the chunk of chocolate in either milk or boiling water. They're hot chocolate. You don't eat it. So I've been eating it neat. And I said to you, I wonder why when you bite it in half, it's on a spoon, on a wooden spoon. I've been eating it whole.
Now, funnily enough, you've reminded me of the 2 lessons that I learned in home economics class. One of them is that you cannot just add more and more chocolate powder to make something chocolatey. It just turns into a powdery mess. And the other one is apparently you can burn onions bad enough to get kicked out of the class as a health and safety concern. Can you tell I was good at home economics? One of the things that's going to be happening this year here in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is that we will be having a general election. We have been promised that, which means we're going to put together the People's Manifesto, you dear listener and us as well, because it's all about
Power to the people!
Not that I'm communist and anything like that, but we want to make sure that the sort of policies that we're going to be getting are the policies that have a real effect on your life. So we want to hear about the things that wind you up and get you upset. It's also a chance for me to play this clip. And on this week's episode, or version of Elected, a feature of Elected. I'm going to touch on what is, I guess, a sort of serious topic, which feels kind of weird because we kind of pitched this as this isn't serious stuff. We've dealt with issues in supermarkets, we've dealt with issues in camping. This week we're going to be touching on something that's sort of serious but not serious at the same time. You're looking a little bit worried, there, Jenny.
What can that be?
What can it be? Well, one thing we hear about year after year is nuisance 999 calls.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to play a little bit of a game where I'm going to tell you about a 999 call and you tell me if it's a real call or not.
Okay.
You up for that quiz? Yeah. So the number one, a man called 999 because he ate too much kebab. Is that real or made up?
I'm going to say that's real.
It is real. The quote in the newspaper, we had some kebab and I might have had a little bit more than I'm used to. Then this morning I had a painful stomach. He had a food baby, basically.
Oh, it's like me and the chocolate, isn't it?
It's like when you get to a certain point in Christmas Day and you've eaten too much food and it gets physically painful. He's done that and he's called 999.
Wow.
Jeezy peeps. Number two, someone who missed their alarm and were going to be late for a flight, so wanted officers to take them to the airport.
See, I can believe that's true as well.
You think that's a real 999 call?
Yeah.
It is a real 999 call.
Wow.
To be honest, if I did that sort of thing, I'd love a police escort as well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have the gall to call 999 for it. Number three, a man was calling to say his 50p coin was stuck in a washing machine at his local laundrette and he wanted police to retrieve it. Was that a real 999 call or not?
Oh, wow. Again, it's so ridiculous that I'm first thought I thought no, but then I thought, do you know what? It's so ridiculous. It could be a yes, so I'm going to go with yes.
It is a real call. I've had that happen to me. I've put money into the machine at the laundrette and not got my laundry washed.
Oh.
So I was a little bit upset with it. But you just speak to the person that runs the laundrette. You don't call 999 for it. Number four, a woman who wanted police to deal with a couple of noisy foxes outside her home as they were preventing her from sleeping. Did she call 999 or not?
Yes.
She did call 999.
Oh, wow.
Although, in my opinion, it's not foxes that are a problem, it's the cats.
Yeah.
Cats make much more noise when they're up to that sort of thing at night. And our final one, number five. A man called 999 as he was advised to call 111 but didn't know the number.
Yeah, that's got to be true.
It is. I'll be honest, that's the sort of thing I'd do after a few special brews or something. Like, oh, call that number. So what's the number to call that number?
Yeah.
My pledge, because, this is a serious problem. This is a problem we need to deal with, dear listener. My pledge for the People's Manifesto is that we launch a service called 888.
Okay, yeah.
So it's the same number as the subtitles and teletext.
Yeah.
Which isn't a thing anymore. So we can call it the 888 service. And that's also what we call a dated reference, dear listener, which helps age us. There'll be kids that'll listen to this and go, what's teletext about? But I'm proposing that we launch 888 as a new number for when you don't need 999, but you still need a pointer or two. You know those moments, don't you? I don't need 999, but I do need a bit of help. Though, with that last story, I think 999 will be getting calls either way. I don't think it'll make a lot of difference, but we're going to pledge it anyway. So A Wee Natter on Bo Radio, where I'm going to ask you, dear listener, and you, Jenny, as well, how good are you at remembering where you put things down?
No, I'm rubbish, especially my keys.
I literally, and I'm not making this up, I literally lose the pen in my hand sometimes.
Yes.
I must say, the strangest place I've ever found a pen was I put it down was the fridge. I'm not making up.
Yeah.
I'd given up on finding the pen and I went to make myself a juice or a cup of tea or whatever it was. Opened the fridge and there's the pen sitting on the shelf.
I wonder what prompted you to put your pen in the fridge?
I've no idea. It's just a sort of strange thing that happens in my mind. But I'm sure I already know the answer when I ask you this question, dear listener. And I know the answer from Jenny as well. Have you ever lost a remote control?
Yes, I do lose them.
Yeah. You ever lost them to the point you have to replace it and you get one of those third-party remote controls for your telly?
No, I haven't. No, not that bad.
You could get the fanciest one in the world. They never quite work as well as the original remote control
they
does.
don't, do they?
There's always some button that doesn't work as you expect.
Yeah.
I guess if we're talking about lost remote controls, you ever lost a remote control for a bridge?
No.
No. Well, it turns out that's what happened in Dublin. They lost a €2,000. How does a remote control cost €2,000?
Wow.
When they did the equivalent of a house move, they moved between buildings. They lost the remote control in the process. I do remember when I moved house as a kid, I had a trombone because I was in the school orchestra, and they issued me with this trombone to learn as a musical instrument. And all it had in terms of protection, the case they gave us, was a soft case.
Oh.
Yeah, it went in the back of a moving van and came out flat as a pancake. And the council were not happy about that one. So it sounds like they did a similar thing here in Dublin. And they basically did that thing where you get out your car and you start tapping your pockets going, where's my keys?
Yeah.
And you go to open the door, it's locked, and then you see your key sitting on the driver's seat.
Oh no.
They've basically done the equivalent of that, haven't they? And if this was a low quality comedy movie, dear listener, there would be some confused chap mashing a remote control, wondering why his garage door's not opening, but his bridge is opening and closing in the background. But it turns out it was never a big deal because the bridge doesn't need to open that often. But it got me wondering if you, Jenny, or you, dear listener, have ever lost something expensive or important.
No, I mean, not expensive but important. I love my cats.
You love your cats.
I lost me Mogman calendar.
You
I had
lost.
to replace it
You lost a calendar, which
with Morgan. You know, if you follow
Who's
Morgan
Morgan?
Squires Watson, so he's part of the Moggy Manor 5, lives in Norwich, and raises loads and loads of money for charities, for animal charities. And
so these are
has a
cats.
calendar. It's a cat, yeah. So they do calendars and other merchandise, and every year I have a Morgan calendar, and I did order one early this year and last year, sorry. So I'm good to go for this year, and I couldn't find it nowhere. And normally when we had to get another one, but normally when you replace it you find the original, but I haven't. But I had to have another one because it just didn't feel right without a Morgan calendar
there you
on
go.
my wall. So not expensive but important.
So the Pussycat calendar was very important.
Yes.
Personally, I lost my marbles a long time ago. It didn't feel important at the time, but it's definitely cost me a lot over the years, dear listener. Although we were asking about, losing things, weren't we?
We were.
And Hank has been in touch to say he was on his holidays, he was out for a swim in the lake, gets out the lake, and it turned out he'd lost. What do you think he'd lost?
He's not going to say he's lost his trunks.
No.
Oh.
That's the sort of thing I do in public swimming baths, especially ones with the waves on it. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
They have a
They just
habit
pull
of
'em
trying
off.
to yank your shorts off. Yeah, not good. No. It was tamer than that, but something to get him in a bit more trouble. What do you think it was?
I don't know then.
It was the wedding ring.
Oh,
And
right.
even worse, he didn't notice it. It was his missus that noticed it.
Uh-oh.
No, so in trouble there.
no.
I did ask, did he spot a little fish popping out of the lake,
Yeah,
heading off down the local pawn shop? Apparently not. So as much as these things happen, you do lose these things. Wonderful memories do come of them, and you look back and laugh a few years later, don't you?
You do.
At least that's what I'm going to tell
hope so.
Jenny when I inevitably lose my wedding ring at some point. Glad to have you on board with us for A Wee Natter, where we've been touching on the topic of losing things. As Cheryl's been in touch, saying, I've never lost anything expensive apart from a Hilfiger watch last year, which was not that expensive, but it was the principle. I know that. That moment when you lose something that's really important, but you still get angry with it. It might have only cost you about 50 pence or something like that. I'm assuming the watch costs more than that. It might have only cost you about 50 pence.
Yeah.
But it does your nut in. You've lost it. And talking about doing your nut in, something I did promise you was the continuation of the 100-question quiz that I wrote over a decade ago. We are a couple of months away. I had to look ahead. We're a couple of months away from questions involving the late Queen and what she gets up to. But we are still in questions that are still good at the moment. So we're going to carry on with the quiz. It's just for a bit of fun. See if you can figure out the answer. And today's question is, what is the hottest part of a chili? And we're not talking about the country here. What is the hottest part of the chili? If you think you know, try and get your answers in, and we'll check after this one from, who's it now? It's Beautiful South. It's a cracking day today. I would blame it on the computer, but it is all me, unfortunately. It's A Wee Natter on Bo Radio, where we are asking you one of our 100-question quiz. We got to the question, what is the hottest part of chili? And a few of you have been in touch. Stephen West, listening in his car at the moment, saying, I think the hottest part of the chili is the tip. Only the tip.
Right.
Make your own jokes there, dear listener. We've got to at least have the veil of family friendliness on this show, haven't we? We've also had a couple of you in touch. We have had both Henk and Cheryl
And Ellie now.
and Ellie have used a very fancy word to describe the part of the part of the chili. I then had to Google this to double check it matched my answer, and it felt weird typing placenta of the chili into Google. I was a little worried what was going to come up, but it turns out that's the same as the membrane that I was going for the correct answer. So well done, all three of you. That is the correct answer. Is the membrane, or the placenta as it's formally called, where the seeds are attached to, not the seeds themselves, as you sometimes hear in pub quizzes and things like that. So there we go. We've learned something about chilies today. I don't know if we wanted to learn something about chilies, but we've managed it. That's two separate groups now saying Elvis isn't dead. They're Scouting for Girls for the song Elvis is Dead, and there's Kirsten McCall, where there's a guy down at the chip shop swears he's Elvis.
Yeah.
So I think they're onto something there. I think Elvis might not be dead. Although if he's still with us, he'd be, in his 80s or 90s by now? I don't think he's working a chip shop at that age.
No. Well, you never know.
It's possible. But on a slightly different topic, do you know what a phishing scam is?
Yeah, somebody's trying to get information from you to nick your personal identity or your financial info.
Yes. So they pretend to be like an official website to steal your credentials and things like that. I have a certificate in the cybers, dear listener. I'm not making this up. I genuinely have like an Open University certificate in the cybers and can confirm that it turns out we're both wrong.
Oh, go on then.
It turns out some kids in Utah, which is in Miracle-land, which means we have to play the Miracle-land sound to get us in the mood. Bit of dueling banjos, screeching eagle. It gets you into the mood for Murica's stories, doesn't it? But apparently some kids in Utah have been taping fish to cop cars and bank machines.
Oh.
And I'm not talking like a packet of fish fingers. I'm talking like a full-blown a fish out the water.
Like a cod or a haddock or a salmon.
Yeah. How does the scam even work at that point? It's like they got confused and phishing scams. They do them for getting cash out of people. I'll attach some fish to a cash machine. I was confused as you were, dear listener, and as much as Jenny is as well. So I went and got some insider information on this. So if you want to hear this, you're going to have to come a bit closer to your radio. You're going to... No. You could park a bus in that gap. Come on, a bit closer than that. You have to listen closely, right? Apparently, it's a way of getting something fixed. So you've got an ATM that doesn't work. The company can't be bothered to repair it. Yeah. So what you do, you sellotape a fish to it, and then you have to come out, sort the fish, and you might as well fix it while they're there. That's the cunning plan. So on the top of that plan, I want you to come down the fish counter with me tomorrow. I'll meet you in Tesco down the fish counter tomorrow, right? And we were going to take a trip to Tuxford Road and get some potholes fixed. Yeah. And on that note, we've shoehorned local content in as well. Admittedly, it's about potholes again. Seems to be the one thing that goes on in the roads round here.
It is.
Let's celebrate.
Sounding nothing like any of Top Loader's other songs, it's Dancing in the Moonlight on A Wee Natter from Bo Radio. That's about it from us, unfortunately. If you want to join us again next week, it's 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, or if you're listening on demand, remember to hit the subscribe button and ensure you get the show delivered directly to your log holes the moment it is made available on the internet.